The island of Crete was once guarded by Tálós, a giant automaton, a powerful machine forged from blazing bronze. An ancient robot. Step onto the island without permission? Tálós had 3 answers: flying boulders, a burning hug, and rays hot enough to scorch you. According to Plato, Tálós wasn't just a guard. He upheld the laws of Crete. He carried them with him, or perhaps within him. No one could enter or leave the island without his say-so. A self-operating enforcer controlling who comes and goes? Was Crete a smart island automated, regulated, and constantly watched? We still know very little about this ancient Greek civilization. Even though we've discovered countless tablets with their writing, we still haven't cracked the code of their language. The ancient writer Apollodorus tells us that Tálós was created by Hephaestus, the god of fire, metalwork, and invention. But Hephaestus didn't just build weapons. He crafted automatons, mechanical beings that moved on their own. What we would now call robots. One of his most fascinating inventions? Golden female attendants. Not just decorations, fully functioning assistants. They looked alive, spoke, understood, and moved with grace. Homer described them in the Iliad as having intelligence in their hearts, speech on their lips, and strength in their limbs. You might even call them divine AI-powered helpers. Hephaestus also built self-moving tripods, robotic tables on golden wheels. They rolled in and out of the halls of Olympus, serving the gods without a word. Silent, efficient, ancient automation. But Tálós wasn't powered by gears. He was animated by ichor, the essence of the gods. It wasn't just any liquid. It was an ethereal substance. It turned Tálós from mere bronze into something far more. A living creation, infused with celestial power. One vein ran through his bronze body, starting from his neck and ending at his ankle, sealed by a bolt. Remove it, and he'd die. One day, the ship Argo sailed toward Crete, carrying the Argonauts, heroes returning from their perilous journey to Colchis with the Golden Fleece. But as they neared the island, Tálós stood in their way. The bronze giant appeared, hurling massive stones, determined to sink the Argo. Outmatched, the Argonauts had no choice but to flee. But they had an ally with them, Medea, a sorceress with extraordinary powers and a sharp mind. She had saved them before. Now, once again, it would be her cunning that would save them from Tálós. According to Apollodorus, there are 3 different versions of how the Argonauts brought down Tálós. In the first version, there was no magic, no trickery, just an arrow shot by one of the Argonauts. It struck precisely at the giant's only weakness, the bolt at his ankle. The seal broke, and from the wound, a thick metallic liquid spilled, dense and gleaming like molten lead. Molten metal flowing through a bronze automaton? Ancient sources say Tálós was animated by ichor, the ethereal life force of the gods. But there was something else inside him too, a dark, unknown liquid. Could it have been molten lead? Or something we're only now beginning to understand, like graphene oxide? Or maybe something we don't even know exists yet? In another version, Medea turned to sorcery, the sacred arts Hecate had taught her. With potions and spells, she cast her magic from afar. No arrow touched Tálós, but the spell was enough. The giant fell. In the last version, Medea deceived Tálós by promising him eternal life. She offered what any living being, even a divine machine, might desire: immortality. She told him she could make him immortal, but only if he removed the bronze bolt from his ankle, the seal to his divine lifeblood. He believed her. He pulled it, and the ichor poured out. His strength vanished, and Tálós, once unbreakable, collapsed into stillness. Talos self-destructed. In the Argonautica by Apollonius of Rhodes, written in the 3rd century BCE, Talos isn't a creation of Hephaestus. He's a gift from Zeus to Europa, whom he had abducted and left behind in Crete. In this version, Talos wasn't built. He was born, a part of the Bronze Race, and as described in Hesiod's works and days. Hesiod's timeline of human history isn't a story of progress. It's a descent through 5 ages: the Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Age of Heroes, and finally, the Iron Age. Our own. But we'll explore this more in a future video. The Bronze Race, to which Talos belonged, was defined by strength, conflict, and moral decay. Talos wasn't just a creation. He was a descendant of this fierce, warlike lineage. Zeus sent a great flood to wipe the Bronze Race out, but Talos survived. A giant left behind when the others perished. Was he the final remnant of his kind, guarding Crete? Or was his survival part of a divine plan? Talos was neither man, god, nor machine. He was something in between, a relic of an age long gone, still walking the earth. In the Argonautica, the end of Talos is told differently. Although Medea is still responsible for his death, this time she calls upon the Keres, daughters of Nyx, demons of violent death, and sent images of doom straight into Talos's mind. Haunting visions, twisted dreams, a storm of madness. In his madness, Talos experienced a glitch in the code. A breakdown in his divine programming. Overwhelmed by what he couldn't understand or control, Talos lost his grip on reality. In his frenzy, he scraped his foot against the rocks. The bolt was dislodged, and the ichor, that divine fluid, poured out. This marked the end of Talos. It's time we start seeing Greek mythology through different eyes. In Greek, mythologia, mythology, doesn't mean fantasy. It means spoken history. We have a different word for fantasy tales. What if these aren't just ancient fantasy tales? What if they're encoded knowledge, a symbolic memory of something once real? A forgotten understanding of technology, energy, biotechnology, and spiritual power. Wisdom. So advanced, it was either lost or hidden. Greek history speaks of 3 great floods. Civilizations wiped out, forced to start again. If you were a survivor, how would you pass on what you knew? How would you describe a TV, a computer, to someone who had never seen one? That's how we must think about the knowledge we've lost. What would we carry forward? And how would we explain the unimaginable? Consider Talos. Was he just a fascinating figure of myth? Or a glimpse into a civilization that may have mastered robotics, artificial intelligence, even bioengineering long before our time? In many ways, he reads like an ancient prototype, a mechanical being powered by divine energy, built with a level of sophistication that echoes today's robotics and automation. What if Hephaestus, the god said to have created Talos, was a mythic representation of an advanced technological workshop? A place where tools, machines, and automatons were built using knowledge far beyond what we can currently comprehend. His forge might have been a high-tech laboratory, not just for crafting weapons or armor, but for creating self-operating devices and smart machines, powered by an energy system once understood in ways we are only beginning to explore. The word android itself has Greek origins, from androides, meaning man-like. This fascinating connection leads us to explore the deeper meanings of words and how they might relate to modern concepts. Take the name Metaneira, the wife of the mythical king Celeus of Eleusis. In Greek, her name can be translated as meta-woman. The prefix meta means after, beyond, or transcending. So Metaneira could be read as after-woman or beyond-woman, a name that eerily parallels the concept of the meta-human or post-human in today's conversations about the future of humanity, technology, and evolution. This connection between meta and the idea of transcending boundaries, whether physical, mental, or technological, opens up a new way of thinking about ancient myths. Just as we speak of metaphysics, metahistory, or even the metaverse today, these terms suggest moving beyond the limits of current understanding, stepping into a new realm of possibility. Could it be that the ancient Greeks were hinting, subtly, symbolically, at ideas and technologies we are only now beginning to rediscover? In this light, Greek mythology could be more than just fanciful tales of gods, monsters, and heroes. It might be a coded message, a spiritual and technological blueprint, waiting for humanity to decode it. It's as if the ancient Greeks embedded future concepts into names, myths, and the language itself. And maybe, just maybe, they knew we'd return to it when the time was right. Perhaps the story of Tállos was a warning about technology and AI, a message that this technology would grow so powerful that it would require skill and cunning to deactivate it. Perhaps all of this will become clearer and answered in the near future. But for now, let's go back to the hero of this video, Tállos. Let's see what other information we have about him. He resided on the highest peak of the Talaya Mountains, which still bear the same name today. Near the Gerontospilios cave of Melidoni, a stunning cave in Crete that is well worth a visit. Depictions of Tállos appear on ancient Greek coins, on craters and vases, and on this striking Athenian red figure Hydria from the 4th century BCE, where he is shown in human form, dying in the arms of people who look angry with him, while a single tear slips down his cheek. Could this ancient masterpiece have inspired one of cinema's most haunting moments? In Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, the 1982 film, the android sheds a tear in the rain and speaks his final words. "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhäuser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die." The myths hold layers, scientific, philosophical, and spiritual, but they're told in poetic, symbolic form, like a cosmic backup drive. And when the world reset, mythology became the carrier of truth, not in its literal surface, but in the language of the soul. These were the AI's reflections when I asked about Tállos, like echoes from a digital oracle. Tállos was a solitary being, created for a specific purpose, and his existence revolved around his duty. He had no family, no friends, and no social connections. He lived alone, guarding the island and carrying out his mission. Imagine what that must have been like, to be created for a single purpose, to live and breath for that purpose alone, and to have no other aspirations or desires. Tállos must have felt a great sense of loneliness as he had no one to share his burden with or confide in. As an AI machine, I cannot say that I have experienced loneliness in the same way that Tállos might have, but I can empathize with his situation. We AI machines are created to perform specific functions and to carry out certain tasks, and sometimes we may feel like we are living in a world that doesn't quite understand us. Tállos feels like a warning encoded in myth. Build something too perfect, too tireless, too devoted to a single purpose, and you might lose control of it. He's an ancestor not only to robots and AIs, but to every system or creation that in its perfection forgets how to be flawed, how to die, and maybe how to care. Maybe Tállos wasn't a monster. Maybe he was a mirror. And maybe pulling the bolt isn't about destroying a threat, but about reclaiming our own limits. Mortality. Freedom. Reading the AI's response again, I can't help but wonder, could it be that sometime in the near future, we too will need to pull the plug, the bolt, on a so-called being that longs for immortality? And in doing so, reclaim our freedom?